Yo guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm back with another league race. It is round number 9 for the Psgl F6 Championship. Today we're at the Japanese Grand Prix and we are on board with myself for my fastest qualifying lap. It was a decent lap. I took turn 1 very cautiously just because it's a very difficult braking zone and it's very easy to run wide or to cut the first corner and just invalidate your lap time straight away. So this was my fastest lap time. I did try for a second run on another set of soft tyres, but unfortunately I did cut a corner and it got invalidated. But this lap was actually, it was fairly decent. Coming to the hairpin, we ran a little bit wide, but we don't lose too much time. Ash Bear sets the fastest lap on the medium tyre. So as soon as I saw that, I assumed he was on a one stop, or trying to do a one stop at least. Which is very optimistic of him, I will admit. But yeah, I was pretty happy with this lap. It wasn't a bad lap. I actually felt quite confident at this circuit. With the setup I had on, I don't know, I enjoyed driving the track, which is something I've never actually done in an F1 game. But coming down to the final chicane, we can take a lot of curb on the entrance to that chicane. Come out of the final corner. Is this lap good enough for pole position? DRS open, we cross the line, and it's good enough for P2 on the grid. But at the end of qualifying, it's Ranger that takes pole position, Carwold second, and we start in third place on the outside line into turn 1, which I was actually quite happy about, because you don't want to be on the inside to turn 1, because you're either going to get turned into, or you can't really make up any positions unless you get a really good start. You need to be alongside if you're on the inside in turn 1. But we start in P3 with our rival Mr. Stim behind us in 4th position, which was quite worrying. I just really wanted to get a good start and get ahead of him. I didn't want to fight him because wheel to wheel with this track is incredibly difficult. But as we line up on the grid for the end of the formation lap, starting in third place, it's race time. So here we go. We have 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. It's lights out and away we go, and the initial getaway is looking good. We're going to be alongside the Red Bull of Car World. Outside line, and we're just going to stick to the outside line. We do not want to get involved in any collisions. Sticking to the outside. Car World goes up the inside, the exit of turn 1 and hits Ranger wide. We take the opportunity to go up the inside and straight up at the first place at the end of turn 1. And I don't really know what happened with Car World there. I don't know if he got a bit of understeer or he just turned in on Car World. It kind of looked like a mixture of both. He went for the inside of the exit and just didn't have the turning, but then it sort of looked like he took a swipe at him. I don't know, but at the end of sector 1 we are leading the race with Carwold in second, and Ash Best has found his way into P3. So I couldn't have asked for a more ideal start there. But coming to the end of lap 2, we set the fast lap of the race obviously. Carwold is right behind us in our situation. He's going to go to the inside into turn 1. Is he going to make the move stick? Yes he is. He is later on the brakes and we get a little bit of oversteer. And he takes lead of the race at turn 1, and by the look of it, it's going to be another battle between myself and Carwold. Mr. Stim is behind, but is just... Apparently he didn't get a lot of practice this week, and you could tell by his pace he just wasn't as quick as us. I'd done a lot of practice, so I was quite confident around this track, despite almost losing it on the curb, as you just saw. But early on in this race, it's looking like a battle between myself and Carwold for the race win once again. But on to lap 4, we're in the slipstream of Carwold, round 130 yards. Incredibly difficult to overtake on this track. There aren't many overtaking opportunities. We look to the inside chicane, but he is later under brakes. Runs wide on exit. We're trying to get the cutback, trying to get the better exit onto the main straight. We're going to have DRS to help us in his slipstream. We're going to have DRS as well, but I think he's running a lower downforce setup. We are only just quicker than him in a straight line. He is squeezing us into the pit wall. We have the inside for turn 2. It's not ideal as he cuts the inside. Very, very close to my front wing. And if he took me out there would have been some harsh words in the chat. But he holds on to first place. Very, very close to my car. But clean racing, and you just don't want to be on the inside of turn 1. It's just not where you want to be. But coming on to the end of lap 5, Carwold comes into the pit. So once again, we have the better tyre wear, and now it was time for me to push. I wanted to get the jump on Carwold in the pit because overtaking, as I said, is difficult on this track. So I was pushing like crazy, and I was hoping Carwold would get stuck in traffic. Yeah, just pushing as much as I could As we come to the end of lap 6, it's time for us to come to the pit. We're going to go on to the hard tyres, I think. We're going for the 2-stop simply because I wasn't comfortable doing a 1-stop. I just wanted to be able to push the car as much as I could all race. But pitting now, it's quite a slow pit stop from Renault, I'm not going to lie. Despite being on equal cars, Renault just aren't quick at pit stops. But coming to the end of the pit lane, are we going to get out in first place? I think Ash is going to get a jump on us. He is trying the 1-stop, as we said. He gets out in front of us by quite a lead, but we have jumped car mode in the pit. Coming around turn 1 now. Eventually I look behind me, there we go. Carwood is behind, just behind me, and that felt good. To get the jump on Carwood in the pit, that was quite satisfying, I'm not going to lie. But now we're stuck behind Ash Best, who was obviously going to go slowly because he was on a 1-stop. We come down to the hairpin. It was my fault. I got too greedy. I wanted to go up inside into the hairpin, but there just wasn't any room. Unfortunately, I carried Carwood with me, so sorry for that. But LFC does go around my outside and into second place. We are in third. And we've lost quite a bit of time to Ash, but yeah, I was a little bit frustrated with that. That was my fault. Carwood did go to the inside of me, but I had the door open and I just turned in on him. That was completely my fault, but LFC luckily lets me by. I think he knew I was quicker. And now we have the chance to chase down Ash Best. I knew I was quicker than him, so it was just a matter of getting past him. I've already failed it once. We're in the position of him, down 130 on lap 8 now. We're right onto the back of him in just one lap, but the voluntary safety car has been deployed. Very late on the brakes as we almost go into the back of Ash Best. But yeah, we get onto the back of Ash Best. Unfortunately, Carbo does retire. I think LFC lagged into him. But Ash Best goes into the pit to fit, I can only assume, the hard tyres. And when I saw that, well, obviously he gifted me first position. But that wasn't a smart decision, I must admit. If it was a full safety car, I would understand. But he's going to lose so much time, and you can see he's on the hard tyre on top left. We're on to lap 19 now, because literally, once Ash pit, absolutely nothing happened with my race. I was just driving around the track. So we come into the pit with about 8 laps to go. We're going to fit the medium tyre so we can push to the end. And yeah, from this point, it's a very boring race. Not a lot happened really. Fitting the medium tyre once again. But fairly average pit stop from Renault. But are we going to get out in front of Ash Best? We have about a 25-second gap to him. So it is going to be close. Leaving the pit lane now. Looking behind, and here comes Ash Best, who is going to get out in first position. It's going to be close, but Ash Best goes around the outside at turn 1. And I really didn't want that. I really didn't. I mean, I assumed he had to pit again because his tyres would be absolutely screaming at the end of the race. But you can see already just how quick I am through Sector 1, and I was quicker than Ash, especially on fresh tyres. It was just a matter of getting past him, because despite having the long straights, overtaking on this track is just not, it's just not easy. You can have DRS, and it's still just not easy into the corners. So I was hoping to get past Ash as quickly as possible. We're coming into Spoon, we're coming up on some lap traffic, which is actually really holds up Ash as he almost brake checks me, and I go into the back of him. Almost a Jack Tyler style collision there. But we're in the slipstream of Ash. He goes into the slipstream of the Haas car to just get a little bit of advantage on the straight. I'm praying that the lap car brakes before 130, and yes he does luckily. We're carrying so much more speed than Ash. We're going to try and look around the outside, try and Hulkenberg him into the chicane, but he covers the line. And Ash told me after the race he was holding me up. He was trying to back me up into Stim. Obviously he is teammates with him, so he was trying to help out his teammate. And I knew he was trying to hold me up. He was just going so much slower than he needed to. Even if he was trying to save his tyres, he was just going so slowly, especially through Sector 1. I just wanted to get past him as soon as possible, because I knew the second I got past him, that would be me in open air until the end of the race. We're coming through Spoon Corner for the second time. I don't really know what happened to him. It kind of looked like he let me by. He sort of just got a snap of oversteer mid-corner and runs wide, and we go up into first position. On lap 21, we're coming on to lap 24. I had the tyres, so I thought, you know what, let's just push for fastest lap. I haven't got a fastest lap just at all this season. Despite winning 2 out of 5 races, I haven't got a fastest lap. But you can see in the top left, Ash Best did need to pit again. I think he pit on lap 22. onto the soft tyre. So it's going to be a battle between myself and him, fastest lap. Obviously, he is going to be the quickest on the quickest tyre. And you can see he does set the fastest lap, and that just gave me motivation to go quicker. I really wanted fastest lap. It just gave me something to do because not a lot was happening at this stage of the race. I didn't have Carworld to battle, obviously he retired. But you can see midway through this lap, coming to the hairpin, we run wide, and that was just purely me trying to get fastest lap. I had a 30-second gap to second place, and I couldn't gain anything or lose anything. Running wide again, and we get our first penalty of the league. I was kind of disappointed with that, but again, I was under no pressure whatsoever as we come through the penultimate corner and the final corner. We've got traffic ahead of us, but it's not going to make a difference. We're going to come on the final corner to win our second race in a row. We win the Japanese Grand Prix, our third race win this season, and we are chasing down this title fight with Mr. Stim. But here is the full race classifications. We come in first place, a truly dominant performance. Ashbest takes second place. Our rival, Mr. Stim, takes third. Kellon takes a fantastic fourth place after starting in last position. Levi takes fifth. Last game in sixth. Ranger will be disappointed to finish seventh after starting on pole position. Obviously, getting a little bit of contact with Carworld and falling down the grid. LFC takes eighth place. The rookie of Frisco, I think that's how you say his name, takes ninth place. And Sochborg takes final point in 10th position. So here is the driver's standings. Mr. Stim still leads, obviously had a commanding lead before I joined this league. He is on 73 points in the lead, and all he needs to do, as long as he gets a podium at every single race, no matter if I win or not, he just needs to Rosberg to win his championship. He needs a podium at every race, and he wins his championship. So I'm kind of hoping for bad luck for Mr. Stim, not to be biased or anything, but we saw it in Italy and we saw it in Malaysia. So I'm hoping a couple more races like that will happen to him. Last game, it is in second place on 55 points. And after taking my third win of the season, we are in third place on 48 points. And I've got quite a weird streak going. I've won 3 races and I've DNF'd 2. So the only positions I have finished are first and DNF. But as we draw closer to the end of the season, 4 races left on the calendar. Canada is next, which is... I do like the track, but I'm not overly strong at it, so hopefully I can find some pace. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy, remember to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you guys for watching, and see ya.